And we're live. Great. Good evening. How's everybody doing? Pretty good? Great. Smart of you who brought a hat tonight. We keep the windows open to keep the air moving through here, but it can get a little chilly. Southern California chilly. I'm from Colorado, so this is not cold, but you know, amazing what we can become accustomed to. So, hi everybody, I'm Michael. I'm not a teacher, but I'm a student like you. I've studied Tibetan Buddhism, Zen Buddhism, lots of different Buddhisms. And tonight we're going to be talking about Tonglen. Out of curiosity, show of hands, who has practiced Tonglen before? Okay, awesome. Yeah, I see a couple of familiar faces, a couple of you. Great. Show of hands, how many of you meditate? Not like every day, just, you know, sometimes. Great. Awesome. Cool. For those of you who have, wonderful. For those who haven't, even better. This is a wonderful place to start. So I'll do a little bit of talking to give you some background, but mostly I'd like to use this time to practice, and then we'll have lots of opportunity for discussion along the way. So Tonglen. Tonglen comes from a 13th century Tibetan text called Lojong, or the Lojong practices. And Lojong literally means mind training, right? It was like a textbook for how to cultivate certain qualities of the mind. And the really cool part about the Lojong teachings were that they were very short, concise. You know, think of it as sort of like your 13th century push notifications, right? They were just supposed to show you exactly how to practice in daily life. And Tonglen was one of those practices, and it's become very, very popular because it's about teaching compassion, right? I feel like we all say that word, but it means very, very different things. So I'd love to hear from anybody here. I'd like to talk to people. What is compassion? What do you think of when you think of compassion?
Something about recognizing that every living being is in its own particular conglomeration of sufferings, and to recognize that and begin from there rather than from a point of contention with that being.
Beautiful. You want to come up here? That was wonderful. That was wonderful. Yeah. Anybody else?
I guess it could be many things, but one of it that I think is like being able to have compassion or like understand someone else's situation, even though you're not going through it or you don't experience it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'm in recovery, and I have friends that they're not in recovery, but they totally get it. You know what it is. So I think that's a type of compassion that you don't have to do what someone else is going through or what someone else has had, but you can like put yourself in their shoes of understanding.
Totally. Exactly. Yeah.
Also to understand that my view isn't the view or the right view, that there are just as many ways. Even though in Buddhism there's no self, there are different viewpoints. At last night's meditation, they said just because you cut your arm off doesn't mean it doesn't hurt. So we do know that we are in the body,
right.
But there's like a collective. It's just to know there's as many ways to view something as there's to be right about something. So,
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Don't have to. That was really, really wonderful. Great. So we had sort of starting from a place of recognizing that we all suffer, right? Recognizing that you don't necessarily have to go through what the other person is going through, the other being is going through, right? And that there are so many different perspectives that beyond what you can see, right? I think those are all essential components of compassion. Absolutely. So the way that I like to teach this practice is deeply rooted in the way that the Tibetans think about the mind. They have two different words for mind. They have one called som, which is sort of the way that we usually think, right? Chitter chatter, blah, 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 super distracted, thinking that our right way is the only way, right? It's very narrow. We don't totally understand. The other one is Rigpa, right? Rigpa has three really important qualities. One, it's totally illuminated, right? It can see things clearly as they are. Two, it's very, very expansive and open. And three, it's compassionate, right? I love thinking about that because anybody here familiar with the term like Buddha nature? Have you heard that before? It was one of the first things that I really loved about Buddhism. Whereas some religions tell you you're originally sinned, you're broken, Buddhism goes the other direction. It says you at your core essence are perfect. All of these qualities of luminosity, of openness, and of compassion are already there for you. All you have to do is open up to them, connect with them. So that's what we're going to do, right? We're going to connect to those things that are already there. And I think that this is really important because often we think that meditation is trying to get something, right? Well, I want to be calm. I want to not have thoughts. I want to like levitate in full lotus and press on it, whatever you want to do, right? But in many ways, meditation is about taking away. It's about removing all the stuff that keeps us from seeing the way that we inherently are. Again, that Buddha nature. So that's what we're going to practice today. And we're going to do it. Tonglen basically has 4 steps in the way that I was taught. One is you open, right? There's a term called bodhicitta, which means great mind or awakened mind. Chitta is mind, bodhi is awakened. And again, the idea is that we open first so that we have space for whatever comes next. The second one is that we turn towards suffering, right? As we said, we sort of recognize that everybody else is coming from this suffering, including ourselves, by the way. And then the second two are that we offer any sort of joy or peace or liberation for whatever that suffering is. And then the fourth one is that we expand, right? So we open, we turn towards, we offer up, and then we expand. There's no quiz. You don't have to remember any of this stuff. I'll walk you through it. I think all of those can be combined into one, which is we openly be with the suffering that is. Because what do most of us do when we see suffering in the world? Turn away. Yep. See somebody on the street. Ooh, that's kind of gross. Maybe go the other way, right? Or we do this, right? Infinitely scroll, right? Because that is so much easier than whatever we're seeing in front of us, right? Tonglen is the opposite of that. We are actively going to be with what is. Even if it's just a little pain in your shoulder, we're just going to fearlessly be with that and not turn away. And that's it. The other stuff I'll guide you through, but it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is that you be with what is. And you will start to notice that natural compassion arise. One of my friends likes to say, Tonglen just starts Tonglening itself, right? These qualities just naturally arise. Cool. Those are a lot of words. Any questions or thoughts before we try and practice? Okay, cool. So you can find a comfortable posture. If you're interested in the 7 points of Vajrayana, it's feet on the ground or legs crossed. You want to try and keep your spine straight, but not too tight, not too loose. You can find just like a natural balance. Sometimes I like to move forward and back, just find sort of what's comfortable. Hands could either be on your legs, or sometimes I like to put it in the open mudra or universal mudra, one hand on top of the other, thumbs gently touching. And then eyes can either be open and softly resting your gaze a few feet in front of you, or if you prefer, you can close your eyes as well. Chin, you tuck gently. I used to think that that made no sense until you notice what happens with your spine when you tuck your chin a little bit. It actually helps that curve so that when you're sitting for a while, your back and your neck doesn't hurt. You might just notice your breathing. Your natural inclination to give and receive. Receiving on the in-breath, giving away, releasing on the out-breath. With every in-breath, we're taking in oxygen, essential nutrients, or at least element that our body needs. And as we breathe out, we release. Go feed all the green things. I invite you to sort of notice what's happening in the mind at the moment. Maybe there's excitement, boredom, residue from the day. All that's great. Welcome it. All is welcome in the great bodhicitta, the great mind. So the first move is to open. That can look a lot of different ways for different people, but it might be helpful to envision a beautiful open expanse. Maybe it's the starry sky. Maybe it's a meadow and you can see a beautiful vista in front of you. Maybe you notice the edges of your skin and see if you can spread your awareness just a little bit further. See if you can be with that feeling of open expansion. Noticing how thoughts or sensations are arising and passing away inside of it. Breathing in, expanding, opening. Breathing out, relaxing. Now I invite you to start scanning your body, starting from your head, going all the way down your face, your shoulders, your arms, chest, all the way down, back up. I want you to see if you can notice any little bit of tension, or a lot of it, whatever's there. Maybe it's in your back, one of your arms, anywhere you feel a sense of constriction. And I want you to turn towards it. See if you can rest your attention there. Each in-breath, see if you can become a little bit more intimate with it. Really willing to look at it. Get curious about it. Is it moving? Is it changing? And if the mind drifts, that's perfectly all right. You might notice where it drifted. See if you can turn towards that feeling of drifting, or boredom, or wanting to be somewhere else, wanting things to be different. Turn towards that. And as you notice that agitation, be it in the body or the mind, and you get curious about it, see if you notice what happens. There might be a subtle intention for it to be relieved of its stress. The constriction in your body to release, the mind to be at ease. That is compassion. And so you can tune into that a little bit more with your in-breath and out-breath by, again, breathing in, getting close, getting curious to whatever that agitation is. As you breathe out, sending that goodwill, that wish for it to be easeful, peaceful. Breathing into that pain. Breathing in, turning towards. Breathing out, offering ease. If it's helpful, you can use a phrase like, "May you be well." May you be at ease. May you be peaceful. Again, if the mind wanders, that's totally normal. And there's usually a bit of agitation underneath that wandering, that movement. See if you can, again, turn your mind towards that agitation. Get curious about it. Try to get to know it. Now, for the final few moments of the meditation, I want you to just let your mind relax completely. Don't try to think about anything or not think about anything. Just let it completely relax. And if your eyes were closed, you can gently open them. And you might give yourself a little wiggle if that's comfortable. If your knees are hurting, feel free to give them a stretch. Side to side, shake it out. Whatever feels right. And hello to anybody who is online. We will do another practice session in a second. But before we do that, I would love to hear from people. I think one of the best ways to learn about meditation is to listen to other people. Because whatever you experienced, chances are somebody else here experienced it too. And if they didn't experience that, they will definitely benefit from hearing that that's possible in the mind. So, yeah, what came up for folks? How was that?
The inner child.
Your inner child.
That's really happy.
Ah.
Feels separate.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to say any more about that?
Just when start working and go back and revisit things and you're like, no wonder I do these things. It's because of those things.
Sure.
Having compassion for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm transcendent what I'm going.
Sure. So I'm curious if you're comfortable sharing, what was it like, not worried about the content, right? The reasons that the inner child does whatever it does, but what was it like to be with your inner child? Like, describe that quality to me.
My inner child is always like testing to see if you can really trust me. You don't. Do you really have me?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of questioning.
Yeah.
So cultivating compassion and like, yeah, you're okay, you're good. But yeah, kind of, like when you see a kid like throwing a tantrum on the playground, like,
Yeah.
get up, like you're good.
Right. Sure.
Dust it off.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Right.
It's funny
Right.
though, because it's like right there, that old that old energy of regression.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I'm curious for the people online, can you hear what she just said? Could somebody put in the chat if you can hear that? If not, I'll try and give a quick summary because it was really important. A little. Okay, cool. So I'll try and summarize really quickly. One of our members said that she was spending time being with her inner child. And one of that inner child's fears, if I'm right, was that it's worried that you're not going to be there. You're not going to stay. You're going to go away. Is that right? Okay.
I do not advocate for me.
Right. Not advocate for you. Right. Man, and this is so important because I feel like so many of us can probably relate to that, right? We have some part of ourselves that is worried that it's going to be abandoned, right? And that we're going to do the same thing we always do, right? Oh, sorry, I'm busy, right? Can't be with you. Can't deal with that suffering. I'm going to go somewhere else, right? But that relationship that you're describing, right? To see the pain, whether it's your inner child or it's just, again, like a itch in your shoulder or something, right? And to be willing to say, I'm not going anywhere. Right? And we've all had maybe a mentor or a parent, somebody like that, who we really felt their presence as no matter what kind of a tantrum they're throwing, I'm going to be right here. One of my friends, when she practices Tonglen, she says, she gets to the pain and then she says, I hear you and I'm not going anywhere. And that's her mantra the whole time. Just, I hear you, I'm not going anywhere. I hear you, I'm not going anywhere. And then the compassion naturally arises, right? You don't have to cultivate it. It's not like a, superpower that you need to go get. It's just there when you're willing to be totally with that pain and not turn away. Thank you so much for that. Yes, somebody online said true presence. Absolutely. Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting in the moment in meditation you said notice the pain and wish it well. That is, so there's a sense that you want the pain to be better, to release, and that's compassion. That's very different from how I've always used meditation, kind of. Being present with discomfort and letting go of the sense of always having fix and to change. But I think sort of in that, for me, I guess sort of there's a subtle huge difference between wanting to fix the suffering, make it go away, and wishing it well, kind of and I think that's kind of sort of the two. I was sort of able to feel that in a very self sense, which is interesting. Not fixing, but just wishing up an aspiration to improve. Sort of I think I always struggle with in Zen, the idea of not meditating to improve, but then also the motivation be to show up and do any practice or any effects at all. But I think that fixing and trying to make it better than other than just firing it for it to be better, wishing it well.
Yeah. Beautiful. So for people online, somebody just pointed out a really, really important nuance, which is when we are with pain, with compassion, we are wishing it well, but we're not necessarily trying to fix it, right? And we can all relate to that, right? We've been in a conversation before with somebody where we're like, oh my God, I had the worst day. My boss, they just came over, my mom, and then traffic and blah, blah, blah. And we just, what? We just want to be heard, right? We just want somebody to be there with us and listen to us and say I'm not going anywhere. I hear you, right? And I wish you well. They're not sitting there being oh yeah, that's right. Sucks for you. You were in traffic, right? It's oh man, that must have been really hard for you, right? But they're not immediately saying, hey, you know what I did with my boss that actually worked really well? Or, hey, you should take the 5 next time, right? Like, they're not trying to fix it. They're just being with you. And that's such an important, subtle distinction. And it shows up in a lot of different ways in practice, right? We show up because we do want to cultivate the mind. Does that mean that we're grasping for something? In traditional Buddhism, there's 2 words for craving, tanha and chanda. And tanha is like the way that we crave towards things, right? We thirst after things. We're hungry towards things, which has a very different flavor than like, I want to be more compassionate. Now, you could also be like, I want to be more compassionate. Not going to work super well, right? But those are very different flavors, and only you know which one you're really being, right? So thank you so much for that distinction. Yeah. Exactly. Somebody said, or treat people unkind when they have bad days. Exactly. And sometimes we don't even mean to, right? We're still wrapped up in our own stuff. Anybody else? Anything come up that feels relevant?
I have this image of the pain or the anxieties, like being actually connected to those things that are very tender in us. I have this image of like the roots and like a thistle, and that thistle is somehow at the same time trying to protect us, but it's actually rooted to something very tender. So when you said like pay attention to the thing that hurts or the thing that seems to be distracting you, but as soon as you pay attention to it, you could see somehow the tenderness behind it. It was like a doorway.
Yeah.
It was kind of interesting.
Beautiful. For those online, somebody just said when they were close and intimate with the pain or the distraction, they noticed an image, and it was like a thistle was the pain, but then as they got closer, there were roots underneath. And so there was this very much a tenderness, and the thistle was actually trying to protect. Is that right? The tenderness. Yes. And in a second, we're going to practice Tonglen towards somebody else. But if we could all think about that the Dalai Lama likes to say, what lots of teachers say, that we are all of us, unanimously, across humanity, every single person just trying to be happy. We're all, that tenderness, it's all just trying to figure out how to be happy. Now, sometimes that shows up as a thistle, right? But what if we could look at those tender roots and remember that the thistle was actually just trying to protect that, right? Think about if our senators could do that. What a world that would be. Anyway, I'm not going to go there, but we are going to do that in a sec. We're going to practice with somebody else. And as somebody said, or treat people unkind when they have bad days, right? Sometimes we're just trying to protect ourselves, right? Or they're just trying to protect themselves. And so part of this Tonglen practice is exactly doing that, remembering that there's tender roots behind every thistle. Cool. Anything difficult in that practice? Anything that anybody has any questions about, or like, I wasn't sure how I was supposed to do this, or?
I feel like I felt like, wow, my mind is so loud.
I'm
trying to figure out, what nothing really means, and how to get there. And it made me think back to when you asked what compassion was. And I think it's this ultra awareness, because like you said earlier, sometimes we could be into something not even mixed with what we're going through. And so sometimes it just takes a second to pause and kind of reorient yourself to be like, I'm not the only person here. And maybe the person that just cut me off is in a more legitimate hurry than I am.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the person said they noticed at first how busy their mind was. First of all, anybody else notice that? Yeah, like every time I sit, right? And I've been doing this for over 2 decades. So one of my favorite teachers loves to say, after all my practice, all the studying I've done, all of that, I still have all my same neuroses. I'm just better friends with them, right? So busy mind is not a problem at all. But then you also made a great point about how that started to help you see how maybe being around other people, they might express themselves in a difficult way, or you don't necessarily know what they're going through, right? And that's a really, really important part too. So thank you. Cool. Yeah, and I think that like orientation towards, yes, we all want to know what nothing actually is. I think we said what actually is nothing. If you get there, let me know. And noticing that aversion towards the busy mind, that's a wonderful object for this meditation, right? Because again, all we're trying to do is cultivate that sense of compassion. So it really doesn't matter whether that's looking at the pain in your shoulder, or a super busy mind, or your friend who's going through a really rough day, or somebody else, right? What's important is that we turn towards that and we say, oh, busy mind, that must be really hard for you. I'm not going anywhere. You be as busy as you want. I'm not going anywhere, right? Super helpful. Yes. Thoughts don't stop. Jeff says that all the time. Very true. The mind thinks. That's what it does. Okay. You want to practice again? Sweet. So this time we're going to do a very similar process, but I'm going to turn us towards other people in this meditation. I think it's really important to always start with yourself. That's why we did the first. But now we're going to start turning towards that with other people, the same practice. But again, all we're trying to do is see the tender roots when we look at the thistle. Yeah? Okay. So again, find a comfortable posture. Feet flat on the floor, legs crossed. And you might move your spine around. Just notice that gentle alignment with gravity. Finding a posture that feels dignified, relaxed, and awake. And you can gently close your eyes or rest your gaze a few feet in front of you. Again, it might be helpful to turn your attention towards the breath. Noticing the way you receive with your inhale. And you naturally give away with your exhale. The cycle of receiving and giving happening without you even having to think about it. So the first thing we do is call to mind our bodhicitta, our natural, spacious openness quality of mind. So again, you might picture an open sky, maybe a beautiful sunset or a starry night. Just connect with the bigness of it. This vast openness in front of you. And see what happens when your body So you connect with a sense of spaciousness. And noticing how thoughts, feelings, sensations just rise and pass away within this open expanse. So now in your mind's eye, I invite you to picture someone you find easy to love. Maybe it's a friend, partner, family member, maybe it's a pet. And picture them in front of you with as much vivid detail as possible. What are they wearing? What's their posture like? What expression do they have on their face? Now I want you to call to mind something that they might be struggling with. Could be big or little. Tough day, difficult life circumstance, pain in their back. See if you can see their thistle. And again, our first thing is to just be with it, to just notice it. To each in-breath, seeing if we can get a little bit more curious. How does it make them feel? What happens in their body? What is it like to be them? And rather than trying to immediately fix it, can we just be with it wholeheartedly? You might say to them, I'm not going anywhere. I see you. I hear you. And I'm right here. And if you notice a well-wishing for them, this sort of intention for them to be relieved of that pain, see if you can sink into that on your exhale, really wishing them to be well. On your inhale, you're getting curious. What is it like to be them? Feeling into them a little bit more. And on your exhale, wishing them well. Wishing them peace or ease. If it helps, you can envision their pain as sort of black smoke. And with each inhale, you breathe it in. But it doesn't harm you. And instead, when you breathe out, you release this beautiful white light that fills them with ease, joy, peace. Breathing in, getting to know their pain. Breathing out, wishing them well. As you sit with them more, you might imagine that you breathe in the last little bit of black smoke, the last bit of their pain. And as you exhale, you fill them with that white healing light again. And what do they look like now? Free of that pain, that hardship, tension. What does it feel like for you to witness them like that? So you can stay with that person if you like, or if you're interested, you can call to mind somebody you're less familiar with. Maybe it was somebody you saw on the street today, maybe a coworker that you don't really talk to very much. Maybe somebody you saw in this meditation hall for the first time. And again, picture them in front of you. In whatever detail you can muster. Their face, their posture, what they're wearing. And again, on the inhale, I want you to think about what their thistle might be. What is their pain? What might they be going through? Maybe they are experiencing loss, or heartbreak, or back pain. What is it like to breathe in and really get curious about what it's like to be them? And again, as you start to connect with some sort of difficulty in their life, you might say to yourself, or say to them, I'm here. I see you. And I'm not going anywhere. Again, if there's a natural willingness or want for them to be happy, sink into that with your exhale. May you be at peace. May you be safe. May you be free from suffering. If it helps, you can imagine their pain as black smoke, breathing it in, taking it away from them. And as you breathe out, imagine white light filling them with ease, peace, happiness. So the next one, you might imagine somebody you don't like. Maybe it's a politician, difficult boss, strange family member, whoever it is, picture them in front of you. And again, with as much detail as possible. You might notice some constriction in your body, some tightening, maybe even some anger or some tightness arising. That's totally okay. But again, we're going to see if we can notice what the thistle is for them. To get curious about them. What is it like to live as they live, to feel what they feel? What tender roots might they have that thistle might be guarding? You might notice how that pain that they express hurts them too. And see if there's any part of you that can notice the hurt part of them. Letting go of the hard exterior, their actions, their words, and just noticing that tender part of them that they're trying to protect. Can you be with that? And again, I'm here. I'm not going away. I see you. Is there any part of you that can wish them well? May they too be at peace. May they be at ease. May they be well. Now for the final moments of the meditation, you can just let your mind relax. See if you can return to that sense of openness. Allowing whatever just happened for you to, like the snow in a snow globe, just settle. If your eyes are closed, you can gently open them. Again, you might give yourself a little stretch. Side to side. I would imagine that a bunch of stuff came up for you in that, being with other people, and especially being with somebody difficult. We basically did like level 1, level 5, and then like level 80 in the span of 20 minutes. So yeah, I'm going to stick around, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time too. But quickly, I just want to say thank you so much for showing up tonight and showing up for yourselves. And if this felt really hard, yep, that's why it's called practice. Just keep practicing. Just keep showing up. So if you feel like joining me, we're going to dedicate the merit. May all sentient beings be free from suffering. And may the practice that we did tonight help ripple through the world so that we may all be at peace. May all find ease. And may all sentient beings be happy. Thanks, everybody. I think we have some announcements.
This is where hi everyone, my name is Riley from Tibet. We opened the Dharma Long Temple 18 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, masters, or teachers, and we're not looking for students. They're simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction, and our food redistribution programs every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We have classes and programs every day, and everything we offer here is always free. The full schedule is on our website and also posted in the entryway above the shoe rack. We have a lending library. If you see a book you like, feel free to borrow it and bring it back whenever you're done. Please straighten your seat or cushion before you head out. And if actually forget that part about the flashing windows, thank you for being here, and we wish you all a see you again.
Thanks, everybody.
We did painting on
Sorry?
some portraits tomorrow.
Yeah. I